My name's Justin. I am an addict and a son of an all-powerful and all-loving God, and the host of the RICO 12 Speaker Meeting podcast. What a blessing it is to be here, to be sober, to be in recovery. The miracles that happen are real. I just want to emphasize that. Today, I did a little bit of a unique thing. About a month ago, I had a recording, a live webinar speaker meeting, a RICO 12 speaker meeting with Anita H. And as soon as we got done with it and I hit end, I realized that I had forgotten to record. And so I posted a Justin's Mistake Part 2 episode for just a few minutes of it. And over the last month and a half, we've been trying to reschedule with Anita, and things just haven't quite worked out. And we got something set up for today with her to do a pop-up style RICO 12 meeting, but she just wasn't feeling very well and wasn't up to doing a live Q&A. So she and I decided, hey, let's just have a quick interview and talk about a few things. And, you know, it was really powerful. On one hand, I really enjoyed getting back in the interview seat. It's been a little while since I've done an interview like that, and that's not quite true. I've done a couple of interviews for another podcast that I am a co-host of, and I guess I'll drop that in here. It's called Pathway to Recovery. It's a joint project between SA Lifeline Foundation and SAL 12-Step, and we do some interviews and some quick Q&A episodes in between the interviews on the topic of sexual addiction as well as betrayal trauma in sexual addiction. So anyways, there's something that you can go check out if you want. It's called Pathway to Recovery. But anyways, it was really cool to sit down and do some interviews, or do an interview with Anita, and just allow her to talk a little bit, ask some follow-up questions, do some back and forth with it. And it was a really great conversation. I really hope you enjoy it. Couple things that I want to throw out there before we jump into the interview is a reminder to like, review, rate RICO 12 Speaker Meeting podcast, as well as RICO 12 Shares, the other podcast, the other project that RICO 12 is doing right now. Go check out RICO 12 Shares. It's a really cool shares only, open to anyone, anytime 12-step meeting. There aren't like opening readings or anything like that. It's just shares. And each meeting is about 4, maybe 5 shares. And there are now 20 of them up. So go check them out. And if you feel so inspired, record a share. And you can do that at www.speakpipe.com/RICO12 shares. And you can also listen to those anywhere that you get podcasts, the same platforms that you listen to this podcast on. All right, let's jump over and bring in Anita's interview with me. She talked a lot about a lot of different things, and just excited to hear some of those one-liners that really affected me, and I think you'll gain a lot from her experience, strength, and hope. Here we go. All right. So, Anita, I'm really grateful that you're able to sit down with me and have this conversation. I feel terrible that the last time I forgot to hit record and lost it. You did a fantastic job this last time, and I'm excited to just have a conversation with you and learn a little bit about what your topic is. You talked about, you sent over navigating sobriety with drinking and non-drinking friends and family. So first of all, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? Let us get to know a little bit about you, and then we'll have a conversation here and talk about your topic of choice.
Sounds great. So I'm Anita. I am a recovering alcoholic, and my sobriety date is 11/21/2018. I used to be a chef, and because of my disabilities with my health, I no longer work. But, I'm just, I've been having a hard time this last month, notoriously May is a horrible month for me health-wise. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of recovering right now, and I might be all over the place. But I have chronic pancreatitis, and it has evolved into pancreatic necrosis, which is where my pancreas is slowly dying. And then I have kidney failure and gastroparesis. And my pancreatitis is due to my alcoholism. And so I recently I was just feeling like, haven't I been punished enough with my health? And but I know that with each experience I have with my health, I always end up learning something, and I'd rather learn something easier than this. But it is what it is. And I have a dog. I don't have children, and I've been born and raised in Spokane, Washington. And let's get started.
Yeah. So before we jump into your topic, I want to ask a little question about the pancreatitis, about that stuff, and we'll dig there for just a minute. Are you a candidate for transplant, or no, you're not?
No. The problem with pancreatic transplants is it's very, very new. And it's like been in the last 5-6 years is when it's really started to kind of be experimented on, and life expectancy afterwards, and all of that. And they say that pancreatitis patients, from when you first get diagnosed, it can be fatal within 10 years. I'm on year 5. And then with the necrosis added on to that, that's about a 3-year life expectancy. And so, yeah, so pancreatitis or pancreatic issues, they don't really have any solution for transplants and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's tough, and that's something that. And you mentioned, hey, am I not being punished enough? Haven't I already been punished enough? How do you try and maintain a semblance of, I don't know if positivity is the right word, but a semblance of desire to press forward in these situations?
A few different ways. One is my family. I've battled with suicidal ideations for years, and it all comes down to I couldn't do it to my family. And the other thing that really helps me is by being loud about it, advocating and explaining, what it's like. And more often than you would believe, I have people that will message me after, I make an update on my health, and will say, I feel this within my heart. I'm so glad you said this. And so, just being there for other people, when I help someone else, it helps me feel better.
I love how you said, be loud about it. I'm sure that's a phrase that's been used before, but for whatever reason, that's the first time it's ever clicked in my head. How has being loud about it, whether it be about health issues or alcoholism or any other issue in your life, how has that helped you? And how can that concept help other people to be loud about it and not retract and be quiet about it?
Well, for me, it took a long time for me to be comfortable with my illnesses. And a big reason was I was ashamed that I caused my alcoholism, or my alcoholism caused my pancreatitis. And it doesn't matter how or why or what you are going through. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of not being afraid of judgment. Because when when I said, or what I said was, when I was first diagnosed with all of this and going through the whole process, I kept it very quiet. I was so afraid of judgment. And one day it just kind of clicked and I was like, I don't care what people think. And I don't care, people know I'm an addict, alcoholic. I don't care if people know that I have mental illness. But what matters, what helps make that doable is just so many people that I have helped in my life in this last 5 years. And that makes it all worth it. And, depression, anxiety, PTSD, chronic pancreatitis, chronic illness. It's a very isolating disease, and add, all 4 or 5 of those together, it's very easy to isolate and, just have a pity party and, just be miserable. But one thing that I often say that, people can roll their eyes at is, do you want to be, it can, oh gosh, now I can't even think of it. Such a coined phrase for me. Anyway, along the lines of, do you want to be miserable or do you want to be happy? And so, I try and be happy, because there's only, it's easier to go the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you were sharing that, the serenity prayer came to mind, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. You're in a place right now where there's, at least with your health, there's not a lot you can change, right?
Right.
Courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. So is that where you try and dwell on, hey, the things that I can make a difference with, because that's where that comes from?
Yes.
The happiness or the sense of, I don't know, meaning, the sense of being able to do something. I love that. Okay. So I think the things that we've been talking about here can lead pretty well into some of the topics that you said, hey, I want to talk about, living out loud or being loud about things, looking at the things that you can control and just, not dwelling on the things that you can't. Talk to me a little bit about this topic of navigating sobriety with drinking and non-drinking friends and family. Tell me a little bit about why you wanted that topic and what you'd like to share with us here.
Yeah. So, gosh, probably since I was like 13, 14, I used to fantasize about drinking. Never had tried it, but I just was so, I thought that was like an adult thing to do. And, grown-ups do this, so I want to be an adult. And, but I come from a family of deeply rooted alcoholic addicts, and on my dad's side. And I've never really had a relationship with my dad's side of the family. My grandpa died from alcoholism and a stroke that he had right after I was born. And then I have uncles who were in Vietnam who resorted to alcoholism and drugs. And I did not understand that that alcoholism and addicts are hereditary. And so I just, as soon as I could, I was out drinking and didn't really have a care in the world. Kept it very hush hush with my family because I didn't want to disappoint my family. And towards the end of my drinking, it was really rough because I had kind of lost all my drinking friends because of my behavior. And I had lost a lot of respect for my family because of my behavior. And towards the end of my drinking career, it was more obvious because I was just drinking 24/7. And so, I just wish that I would have known that alcoholism can definitely lead to yourself having, it's hereditary. And then another thing that I really struggled with was I expected when I got sober that everything was going to be perfect. And, I had a lot of damage to take care of with my family. And so, on one hand, I am trying to make my family happy. The other hand, I've lost all of my drinking friends because I don't want to hang out with someone that's sober. And so, it was rough when I first got sober. It was really hard to navigate, feeling completely lost. My whole life was uprooted, and all of my comforts, the alcohol, just the freedom, being able to live on my own, that was all taken from me. And so, I feel to the newer people coming into this program, the first year is hard. And it's so hard to try and please everyone or not offend someone. And what really matters is you. You have to be the reason why you get sober. Otherwise, the chances of staying sober are slim to none. And I've seen it happen so many times with people that come in, and then after a couple of months, it's hard. And, you have to feel all your feelings, and you can't hide behind the bottle. And, but I just want people to know that it does get better, and it's easier with time. And the one thing that has amazed me with my 12-step program that I'm involved with is people genuinely love you. From the minute I walked into any of those rooms, I have felt loved, and I felt like I'm with my people. And if you're coming into this program pretty fresh, just know that people are genuine, and there might be some jerks in the mix, but for the most part, people just want to see you thrive. So maybe for me, as I've gotten to know people more and more, they're my family. They're my family outside of my family, and they can support me in ways that my own family can't support me.
Yeah, I also love the rooms of recovery and the fellowship that's in there, the love, the real that's in there. Oftentimes when I'm in different places, I can feel, well, I can put on the fake mask too. I want to fit in with everybody there, but it always seems so shallow. But then I get into the rooms of recovery and it becomes real. Most people are pretty authentic. And I love how you shared about that. One of the things that you said that took me to a passage from the big book, you said something to the effect of getting sober did not mean that everything became perfect. And then pages 82 and 83 of the big book, I'm going to read a couple paragraphs here and then I want to get your thoughts on it. The alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others, his or her way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted, selfish and inconsiderate habits have kept the home in turmoil. We feel a person is unthinking when they say that sobriety is enough. They are like the farmer who came up out of their cyclone cellar to find their home ruined, and to their spouse they remarked, "Don't see anything the matter here, Ma. Ain't it grand the wind stopped a-blowing?" Yes, there is a long period of reconstruction ahead, and we must take the lead. And I'll pause there. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that passage and how your experience with that you just kind of talked about a minute ago.
So first off, I love that that message. Yeah, every time it just makes me smile. I'm like, oh, nothing's wrong here. But for me, so it's probably been almost 8 years. I had a DUI, and I did not take care of it. I was not done drinking, and so I didn't take care of it, and I had a warrant for quite some time. And a few years ago, I finally got that taken care of. And, this is one of those things I just kept putting off. But when I finally got that all taken care of, it was a huge relief. And, other things too, relationships, friendships, my family, like it took a long time for my family to trust me again. And, it was every time I'd have to go to the hospital, my dad would search my room for empty bottles. And, he would, to this day, he's not allowed to go to the hospital with me anymore because he kept telling doctors and nurses not to give me pain meds when I'm dealing with pancreatitis. That's extremely painful. And, I was watching, it's funny how these things kind of happen. I was watching a show called Hotel Hell with my parents the other day, and it was, it's a Gordon Ramsay show, and he basically like Kitchen Nightmares. But he goes to hotels, and there was discussion on this particular episode about how they have a son who had addiction and passed away. And I was watching it, and my dad doesn't really talk about my health too much, but I could just see in his eyes, that fear that he had to experience when I was in the ICU and stuff. And same with my mom, still that, like, whenever that kind of stuff comes up, it's a really hard thing for me and for them to think about. And so not only just trust, but, healing, the trauma that we've all been through. And the trauma of not knowing if I was going to live or not. And, it I don't know, that show the other day just really hit me. Because, my dad and I don't have a great relationship. And watching that show, it humbled me to the point of I had a lot of damage that I caused for my family. And, and I'm still working on it. And, my siblings and I are fine now. And my nieces and nephews don't really remember much. But with my dad, it's a constant thing I have to work on.
In that relationship with your dad, and as you're working on it, what are some things? Let's take a step back, and let's say that you're talking to somebody else in a very similar situation to you. How would you advise that that recovering addict, that recovering alcoholic, to interact with their father, their mother, whoever they're having a hard time with, that would help, maybe help smooth things over a little bit? Not quicker, but help smooth things over.
Yeah. So one thing that I would say, and I'm really good at giving advice, but not good at accepting my own advice. But give yourself some space. If you are consistently having problems, try and just respect each other's boundaries, and try and be the peacemaker. You can't control what other people think, act, behave. We have no control over that, but we do have control over ourselves. And if you allow yourself, if you work on your fourth step, and you work on all your, you clean up your side of the street, then you're doing the best you can. But it's hard. And it's hard. Another thing that I would strongly recommend is, if push comes to shove and there's yelling involved and stuff, try really hard not to raise your voice, because once you do that, it's not helpful. And just every once in a while, like for me, with my family, gratitude is a huge deal. And so every once in a while, I was like, thank you. Thanks for doing this for me. Thanks for, dinner or whatever. And it's okay. I mean, it's hard for me because I live with my parents. But if you need to take space from your family and you can, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, just, try and be the peacemaker. Try and love the person who is being difficult with you. Because they're going through their own stuff. And the thing is, we have a program that works. And we have support. We have, sponsors or fellowship. And if the people you love choose not to go into Al-Anon or something similar, they don't have any of those skills.
Yeah. I love how so many things that you're talking about here. Thank you for sharing that and for giving that little talk about, setting boundaries, showing love, being a peacemaker, separating if need be. And where I was going with that, a lot of things you're saying just take me back to passages in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I love on pages 66 and 67, talks a little bit about, those, it's talking about step 4, making, putting things together so that I can make amends. And when I go through these processes, it's called the sick man's prayer. And let's see. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick, though we did not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us. They, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help we ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. This is a sick person just like me. God, please help me be helpful to this person. And that's so much easier to say than it is to do. But I love that concept of that. So is there anything else there that you want to touch on? Or can I jump over to a little bit of a different direction here?
I just want to add yeah, I know. I just have one more little comment.
Okay.
I, along with what you were saying too, I have all over my room, my bathroom, my phone, I have a saying that is, bless them, change me. And that is one that I constantly need reminded of.
Man, that is good. Bless them, change me. Guess what? I'm putting that on a sticky note that's going to go right here on my wall of quotes, because I need that too. Good stuff. Because it's I can't change them.
No.
I can pray for them, but I can't change them. I can only change myself or be changed by a power greater than myself. Beautiful. And I think that also can go along with this next thing. I mean, one of the topics here is, how do I maintain sobriety when, hanging out with drinking and non-drinking friends and family? What are some situations in your life that have brought this topic to the forefront?
A few things. So recently I attended a program for people who have mental illness, depression, anxiety, PTSD, just all, just a good, it was a good course for me. It was 6 weeks long, and I met some people there who became my friends. And a few months ago, I was invited to go to a going away party. And the people knew, because I would say stuff about recovery and stuff in this classroom setting. They knew that I was sober. And I went with a purse full of black raspberry ice and, ready to have everything I needed. And I got there and they were like, no, out of respect for you, we did not get any alcohol or pot. And that just was such a good feeling, because for me at this stage, I'm not too much offended by drinking in front of me or whatever. But it was just okay, these people have known me for 2 months and they respect me that much. And, friends too. I went to the Gorge last year for Dave Matthews, and none of my friends offered me alcohol or pot. And I was offered a beer by one person I didn't even know. And I was offered pot by another person I didn't know. And, it was so awesome to just be like, no, it's okay, I don't drink. And, because I never thought I would get to this stage in my life. But, I think it's important, like I said, kind of at the beginning, that I share, my struggles, my, everything that happens with me, with my health and my alcoholism. If I'm open and honest about it, there are people who need to hear that, and friends that are like, I'm intimidated, I don't think I can do it or whatever. And I have made a relationship with those people that they feel safe enough to come to me with those problems, with I need help, or my husband needs help, or, whatever. And the fact that I am thought of to help out with those, with my friends is amazing. Such a great feeling.
Yeah, and I thank you for sharing that. And that's one of the purposes of this RICO 12 project, is to see the similarities of addiction, the similarities of recovery, and to try and knock down that stigma, that shame.
Yes.
Because when I am silent about it, I just die and others around me die. But if I'm willing to step up and say, hey, look, I've got an illness, I've got a disease that just about killed me, that for whatever reason, God put in my path this recovery that I tried to do on my own for, in my case, decades before I finally said, okay, well, I can't do it on my own. And now I have the solution in my hands. I have to open my mouth. I have to be loud about it, because people around me are dying if I'm not. And
Absolutely.
And you and I and so many other people, Anita, we have the solution, and it can't be a shameful thing to say, you know what, I'm an addict, but I have the solution. If you want, and this always sounds so arrogant when I say it, but I mean it. If you want what I have, I can show you how to get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit more about your experience with that.
So I, during one of my hospital stays, back in 2018, when I first got sick, my uncle came to town, and he is one of the alcoholics that, I was talking about earlier. And he brought me, he joined the recovery program, and he went to my hospital room and gave me a pile of books. And, it was like, I started to read those and get engaged, and, not at first, but at first I was kind of pissed off. I was like, who does he think he is to bring you these things? I don't have a problem. But oh gosh, I lost my train of thought.
So your uncle brought you a bunch of books when you're in the hospital.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where it started. And then I finally went to some AA meetings, and they shared with me that, what we have so freely been given to ourselves, we must give to others. And so when I, have people inbox me and say, hey, I need help, or hey, I just drank and I don't know what to do, or whatever, I probably have 4 or 5 messages a day of friends, and who are so thankful that the stigma is being broken. Because even in the last 10 years or so, the stigma of addiction has gone, not all the way away, but it's gotten so much better. And people genuinely just, they need that leap of faith. Like, okay, I know you can do it, so how do I do that? And it's like, well, first, pray about it, and go to a meeting, and and I've had friends that, one's a flight attendant, she gets to go to meetings all over the country. And it's so cool because not that she shares like the details, but just listening to her talk after one of those meetings, so awesome. And then I've had a couple cousins who have reached out to me and said, hey, I stopped drinking. Hey, I'm almost a year sober. And, it's such a rewarding thing because, this program is hard. It's hard until it's easy. But like what I mean by that is like, when you're first getting sober, everything is so new. And so I was lucky enough to have people that cared enough about me to get me to go to AA. And that's what I want to be for other people. I want other people to feel like I thought enough about them to share this program of recovery with them.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Before we start wrapping up, is there anything else that you feel like, hey, God's putting this on me that I need to say right now that you want to share with me and with us?
I think I'm good.
Awesome. Man, Anita, such a good conversation. Thank you so much for being willing to come back and do this again and talk about it. I mean, I got a whole bunch of one-liners here that are going up on my wall. Be loud about it. Bless them. Change me. It's hard until it's easy. I mean, these are some powerful things. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with me and with so many people who will hear this and gain hope. And hopefully someone who is sitting in isolation will reach out to someone else and make that connection, and that spark will hit, and it will become, as you mentioned here, easy, simple at that point. Man, good stuff. Thank you so much, Anita.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, now we'll launch off into the rest of our day with the step 7 prayer that I will say. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen.
I've seen stars fall from above. I've fallen in and out of love. I've been high and I've been low. Now I know I just can't do this on my own. I've seen a boy become a man. He got lost without a plan. He's so far away from home. Now I know I just can't do this on my own. Your arms surrounding me. Your touch is grounding me. No longer searching for purpose all alone. 'Cause now I know that I just can't do this on my own. I'm looking for the words to say. You make the world a better place, and I can call that place my home. 'Cause now I know that I just can't do this on my own. Your arms surrounding me. Your touch is grounding me. stars fall from above. I fell in and out of love. I got high and I fell low. But now I know that I just can't do this on my own. No, I just can't do this on my own. I just can't do this on my own.